80% of the United States is within a 2-hour flight of Atlanta. So we are the hub for the world. If you want to get anywhere, you can get there from Atlanta. And then a little bit more about our identity. I was telling you guys earlier, we are in hip hop. This is where hip hop was created and founded. I'm going to say that. And then of course we have the Beltline, that's Pond City Market right there, which you guys have been to. And then we have the Mercedes-Benz Stadium. So our character here is really an influx of all these different cultures and communities coming together to create something special. We really do have that work, live, play aspect that you want to see in the city. So if you want to go see a professional sports game, whether it's American football or football, you can do that here. Tennis, we just had the US Open here. We have volleyball games at Atlantic Station. We have everything you need right here in the city. So you really don't have to leave the perimeter to get a well-rounded experience of living in Atlanta. And I'll throw it to Lexi and she can talk a bit more about innovation and entrepreneurship.
Awesome, thanks Maya. So I know you all were at the Entrepreneurship and Innovation Institute at Georgia State and launched GSU. So prior to Invest Atlanta, I worked there. And so I'm super excited that you guys have really seen several pieces of the startup ecosystem here in Atlanta. As I'm sure you guys have heard, we have a fairly robust startup ecosystem, both nationally and internationally. So we launched a virtual dashboard that allows you to see all of Atlanta's startup activity, and this is free. So if you're like, I want to see what type of companies are being launched here, I want to see how much funding is being secured, this is a great resource for you all to do that. And that's atlanta.dealroom.co. So you can see our deal flow, you can see types of companies that are founded here. So as you can see within the city of Atlanta, in terms of tech startups, we have about 1,300 18 VC venture capital investors. Our Atlanta startups employ almost 55,000 people. And then we also have a large concentration of corporates, as you guys have seen with Coke just being across the street, and then others. So all these really play key parts in terms of our startup ecosystem. So yeah, to kind of touch on the robustness, we are the #1 tech hub in the U.S., 8th global startup ecosystem, 5th best city in the U.S. to launch a startup. And then what I think is really important is our diversity. So 1 in 4 tech workers in Atlanta are Black. And so that's something that really makes us unique when compared to other startup ecosystems in the U.S., such as San Francisco or New York, is that they really don't have the diversity that we do. And that's been a huge piece in attracting larger tech corporations like Microsoft, Google, here to the city of Atlanta, because they want to tap into all the talent that Atlanta has to offer. So in terms of how Invest Atlanta supports entrepreneurs, we have a toolkit, and when we think of entrepreneurship-led economic development, for us, that's really focusing on concierge services. So connecting and convening resources for entrepreneurs here. So we do that through a variety of ways. So it's super helpful to have a government that is pro-entrepreneurship. So as you guys may know, our mayor, Andre Dickens, is a tech entrepreneur himself. So he's been known to pass very pro-entrepreneurship policy within the city. An example of that is the Atlanta Demonstration Project, which he actually passed back in 2013, 2014-ish as a council member. And basically that legislation allows entrepreneurs to pilot their solutions using City of Atlanta facilities and resources. So that's a great way to test out, validate that you have market fit there, while having access to the City of Atlanta. Some other resources in our toolkit, access to capital, of course, is huge. So we, depending on our funding, have grant programs. We have ongoing small business loan programs that are very low interest. We help with getting businesses registered with the City of Atlanta as well as certified. Networking and connections is also huge. So we have a new initiative called ATL Unlocked, which is really focused on ensuring that entrepreneurs know all of the key co-working, incubator, and accelerator spaces here in the city. So we tour a different one each month. Of course, as I mentioned, talent is huge. So being able to bring in all the amazing talent from our universities and then connecting them to startups, training and mentorship, also pulling on just the human capital that's here, and then overall ecosystem building. So another great resource I would recommend that you take a look at if you're interested in learning more about the ecosystem here is the Startup Atlanta Guide to the Ecosystem. So if you go to guide.startupatlanta.com.
Can you say that again, please?
Guide,
Guide.
GUIDE, dot startup, STARTUP, Atlanta.com. And this is a free resource that we publish every year. We update it on an ongoing basis, and it lists every accelerator, incubator, funding, anything that you could possibly need for your company in one spot. So, of course, one of the primary resources in that is the Women's Entrepreneurship Initiative, which I think we're touching on next. There we go.
Thank you, Monica. Well, listen, it's really been great to hear all of you guys talk about the things that impressed you with Atlanta. I hope that the Women's Entrepreneurship Initiative can leave you with another data point of something that you loved about the city. I want to start with our mission, which is to elevate, engage, and empower entrepreneurship through women. And I want to touch on a little bit of why we say it that way. First, from Mayor Christine Reed, successful women equals successful families, communities, and cities. And as Maya and Leslie were saying, at Invest Atlanta, we have a mission to make Atlanta the most economically dynamic and competitive city in the world, right? So women are part of that, because women are the center of our families, our communities, and our cities, and our societies. And so this program was put in place to support that, and to intentionally say women are a part of our economic development, and women are really great business leaders. And the way that we run the program, which I'm going to talk about in a little bit, is also informed by Mayor Keisha Lance Bottoms. I'm deliberate and afraid of nothing, right? So we want all of our women to approach. And so that's why we say we elevate, engage, and empower entrepreneurship through women, because when women sit at the table, entrepreneurship wins. It's not the other way around, right? All right. So one of the things that makes this program so unique is that we're the only municipally funded program of our kind when it was started in 2015. It came out of the mayor's office, Mayor Reed, and for all the reasons that I've talked about, we found that women were working out of their homes, and that may present, an unsafe space. You can't invite clients into your home. Women were not getting access to resources or didn't know where the resources were. As Maya and Leslie have talked about, our different startup guides, we need to put them in a place at the top of the city, in Atlanta's oldest skyscraper, at the top, so you can position yourself to win. And so that's what this program is about. In 2018, we left the mayor's office and we moved over to Invest Atlanta, again, to be in alignment with economic development for the entire city. Now, the way that we do that here, we offer 15 businesses with each cohort, 15 months of wraparound concierge services. And we do that under the structure of 4 pillars, which are like quarterly sprints in these 4 areas: business analysis, learning and leadership development, strategic partnerships, and funding opportunities. What we do is we take the first 15 weeks of their experience and we really focus on the core curriculum outlined by those 4 pillars. And then we take the remainder of their time, that 15 months, to begin to build relationships with these businesses, partnerships throughout the city, with various agencies, be they WorkSource, Invest Atlanta departments, the Atlanta Beltline, Women's Chamber of Commerce, the Russell Center for Civic Innovation and Entrepreneurship, ATD. You get my point. We're a portal to the city for women that we think are extraordinary, have extraordinary ideas, and they need support to make those businesses grow into the next Coca-Cola. We just graduated our 4th cohort, so we have 60 businesses in our portfolio, that part, and we are about to onboard our 5th cohort of businesses. Let me talk about a few program highlights, and I'll get into some good stats. Collectively, we've seen our WE businesses grow their full-time employees by over 162%. Again, this is about creating good jobs for the city. WE businesses have generated or contributed almost 600 businesses, 598 to be specific, to the city of Atlanta through full-time employees, 1099 are interns. And I mentioned that we've got over 60 portfolio businesses in our 60 businesses in our portfolio of WE companies. But we expand our programming through these 4 pillars to touch a broad swath of entrepreneurs or women-led startups throughout the city with virtual programming. So while the program itself is intentional in this space for 15 businesses for 15 months, we scale that program into the broader community, and we'll broadcast from this room so that we can reach up to 600 other startups. So here are the big highlights. I talked about our businesses as of Q4 last year, so this number is probably higher. 82 full-time jobs, 478 contractor jobs, 38 internships, 598 jobs for the city of Atlanta. Business scalability, our average annual revenue increase since beginning our program points to close to $500,000 for our startups. Each business averages about $200,000 in capital investment, which is an important metric for Invest Atlanta, jobs and capital investment. And so what that comes to is close to $4.5 million has been invested in our women-led startups through the WE program, and we're really, really proud of that.
Well, we're keeping it short on our end today because we wanted to learn more about you, and we wanted this to be a time for us to converse and just share perspectives and share ideas. So we'll open it up to questions or comments or ask anything. We'll try. Yeah, sure.
So, I'm from Senegal and I have a food company.
A little bit louder.
Okay. I have a food company. I process agricultural products into ready-to-use products. So I have juices, French fries, etc. When I went last time at the World of Coca-Cola, it really inspired me, and I said, Sylvie, your juices have to be here in Atlanta.
Yes.
So I really want to invest here, and I want in 5 years, to export my juices here. So what are the requirements, etc.?
So I can tell you, I'll let all 3 of us go. I can give you a little bit from my expertise, and then they can maybe share some different things from them. First, you're doing the first step. You're here, you're making connections, you're talking to people, you're getting to know people. I think in Atlanta, your network might carry you way further than what your actual product is. So while you're here, make sure to make those connections, expand your network, and really get to know people and take advantage of those relationships while you're here. Another thing would be to get in touch with the players. So I know the city of Atlanta specifically has a big focus on making sure everyone in Atlanta has access to healthy food. It sounds like your food would fall right into that category, healthy juices. Get in touch with the city of Atlanta. I can't remember the name of their program. It might be the Urban Agriculture Program, but they have a whole department in their planning department that focuses on helping people like yourself get their products out of the stores. So before we leave, we can give you the name of that program as well. And then the next thing, which is the most important in business, besides the mission and vision, is the money. So getting in touch with who can help you with funding. Of course, Invest Atlanta, we have money for small businesses, we have money for creative industries, we have money for innovators, entrepreneurships, and women. So get to know your funding sources. Who can invest for you to come over here? You're not gonna fund it all yourselves. Who believes in you, who believes in your product, and who can provide you with that CapEx to export over here? And another thing, my last thing would be, if you aren't familiar or haven't heard of the Exim Bank, They are a bank, it's a federal bank that actually helps people export and import their products through funding. So that would be another resource that I would say. But I'll let these lovely ladies add anything that they have.
Yeah, so I think another good resource would be the Department of International Affairs, Office of
Yes.
International Affairs, yeah.
Senator's office?
Yes, yeah. So, they host a Women Export University program. So I think it's typically offered once a year. And so they have resources specific to exporting that I think would be really helpful. So the Office of International Affairs. And then also at the state level, for Georgia, they also have specific exporting programs. So I'm happy to send some more links on that. But those are two tiers to look at, the city of Atlanta and then also the state of Georgia through their economic development, or government.
So I want to piggyback off of both of those statements. First of all, the Mayor's Office of International Affairs for Atlanta, you should certainly connect with, follow their newsletter. Vanessa Ibarra, who is the director, is fantastic. I'm sure they have a newsletter that's going to have opportunities like the UPS Import Export U University on there. I want you to sign up for Women in the Workplace, which is a program that we sponsors. And Mara, you're going to send out links to them afterwards?
Yes.
So I'll make sure that they have that. But Women in the Workplace is a program that we did in partnership with Invest Atlanta WorkSource and the Mayor's Office of International Affairs. And it's actually a digital platform that helps us to scale our program. So the Import-Export U program for this year is on Women in the Workplace. So you can go watch it on demand, in the time that you need, and learn more about the Mayor's Office of International Affairs, about the programs with UPS Import-Export U. I also think that you should connect with a colleague that I connected with through the Mayor's Office of International Affairs. Her name is Irene Osham, and she leads the African Women's Innovation and Entrepreneurship Forum, AWIA, which is fantastic. And we and AWIA, we do programming together throughout the year, where we try to connect entrepreneurs with each other, which picks up off of the point that Maya was making, her original point. Your network is your net worth. And the fact that you're already you're developing your network, but connect with as many entrepreneurs as you can, with as many women, and with this ecosystem wherever you can. Atlanta's pretty robust, and so we've been able to digitize a lot of it so that when you come here, you can have those meetings set up, and you can meet with those people that are going to put you in touch with the next person, with the next person, with the next person. And that's what it is. The last thing, and I don't know if international companies can be certified, but I'm sure that you can. So I would suggest that you pursue the WeBank certification or some equivalent of that, because in the U.S., that certification puts you in the room with Coca-Cola.
What's the certification?
WeBank, WBENC, WeBank.
It's on food only or?
No. The WeBank certification is specifically in place to put women in touch with corporate procurement officers at places like Coca-Cola. Okay? So that's a very important certification if you want to do business with Fortune 100 companies, because they put you in the room with those companies. And they